What's up? Welcome to episode 18 of Jar Sports Takes. It's been a minute since I've been on here, but I'm glad to be back. As you can tell by that title, this will not be a Dallas Cowboys video. Last Thursday, I had the opportunity to interview Pittsburgh Steelers Max Hurleman and Ross Tucker of WIP. They both threw out the first pitch before the Reading Fightin Phils game on their hometown festivities night. So for my job, I was able to interview them and write a feature article on both of them, which was pretty cool. There weren't too many reporters in the room, so I was able to ask questions, not have a one-on-one interview, but I was able to, ask the questions I want with, the amount of time that we had, which was pretty cool. And before I share the clips, I obviously want to give you guys a rundown on who they are if you haven't heard of them before. Max Hurleman was an undrafted rookie. He had the opportunity to try out for the Pittsburgh Steelers during their rookie mini camp. Obviously, a ton of guys get invited to it, not too many make it. He was one of two or three players to actually make the team, like trying out wise. He spent 4 years at Colgate as a receiver and running back. He was a big contributor on special teams, making All Patriot League first team in 2023. From there, he had an extra year of eligibility and he walked on at Notre Dame. Obviously, doesn't have the security of he's going to make the team or not. He took that risk and it paid off for him as he made the team and he was a key special teams guy throughout the entire season. As you know, they went to the national championship, so that was pretty cool that he was able to play in that. After the season, he went on to prepare for his pro day, and then at his pro day, he heard whispers of, the Pittsburgh Steelers are interested and they liked him. And, they were the only team to call and give him a tryout opportunity, this past May. The rookie minicamp took place on May 9th through 11th. He came in primarily as a running back. The first day he spent there all day running back, learning the playbook, for the backfield. On day two, though, one of the guys went down outside, and, Tomlin moved him to receiver, to get some work out there. And he played well. Like routes on air, he did well. He had some coaches, helping him, with the playbook. Obviously, he's not going to know everything on the outside if he wasn't preparing for that. He was getting help there. And then on day three, Tomlin had him, doing DB drills. So the kid has been everywhere. He's very, very versatile kid. After day three, he went up to thank Tomlin and their GM Omar Khan, and Omar Khan said he made the team. So very impressive story. I wrote an article about it. It's just he went from a small town in Berks County to Colgate, another small Division I school, to the Notre Dame, and he has a chance to be a Pittsburgh Steeler this coming August. There's currently 90 men on the roster. Obviously, they cut down to 53 when it comes time. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. But I think with his versatility, being able to play running back, receiver, DB, he's going to be a special teams guy. I really do think he has a chance to make the team. And another thing that's pretty cool, I was able to ask him about Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers got signed right before mandatory minicamp, so he was able to meet him and practice with him for them few days. It was just pretty cool to talk about a guy that's, a future Hall of Famer, has so much, around him other than, just football. And, he said he was like a normal guy, seemed like a great guy. He was trying to just help him along, which is just pretty cool to hear about, some of the top guys in the sport talking to a kid like that just made the team. And along with Hurlman, Ross Tucker was there, as I mentioned, 7-year NFL vet. His career ended in 2007 due to a neck injury. After that, he went into the media space. He's written for numerous outlets. He's been an NFL insider for numerous years for WIP, the radio, and he's a broadcaster. So his plate is very, very full throughout the season, and I talked to him about it. It was a great interview. I didn't have to ask too many questions. He kind of just, went on, which makes interviewing very easy as they, ramble on, which is perfectly fine with me. You get to hear more things, let their mind run. Unfortunately, after, the press conference part of it, I wasn't able to talk to him too much other than, thank you, nice to meet you, appreciate it, and everything like that. But I really would like to talk to him, because that's kind of what I want to do. I want to be on the radio. Obviously, I'm writing now currently. He has his own podcast, which, I'm trying to do currently. So it would have been cool to, just pick his brain about how he kind of got into it, some connects he has if, he can help me out any type of way. But like I said, hopefully it's not the last time I talk to him. Hopefully there's an interview in the future. But yeah, he was a great guy. I'll show you guys the clips now, and after that we'll get back at it. Has there been any similarities, going from Notre Dame, walking on there, trying your, best to make that team and, contribute to that, and then, going to the tryouts with the Steelers and then, getting an offer to, make the team?
Yeah, a ton of similarities. It's definitely not easy walking into a building as a walk-on or a tryout guy. You kind of wear that on your forehead for a little bit. And what's cool about that is you immediately have an edge and you're walking with a chip on your shoulder. And so in both of those scenarios, they were very similar. And I was able to walk into those situations and immediately, the goal is to just prove that that's not who I am and I am worthy and I am more than that. So both were very similar, and both were. It's fun to make it that way.
Mm-hmm. During mini camp or during OTs or anything like that, have you had that moment where like, wow, I'm a Steeler, I'm in the NFL right now?
Yeah, I'd probably just say the moment I walked in there and shook Coach Tomlin's hand, that was very surreal. And just being in that building, and you have to separate, the fan versus now these are my coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really the moment where you're like, okay, this is it. It's pretty cool.
Obviously, there was big news with A-Rod signing right before mandatory mini camp. Was there any conversations with him yet? Have you met him, talked to him, anything like that?
I have met him. He's not entirely familiar with the offense yet, but he was out there running drills, doing routes on air. So I had caught a couple balls from him. He's pulled me aside, giving me a couple pointers or two, and yes, we're super excited to have him. He seems like a great guy, and he's shown a lot of love. So happy to have him.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other guys in the locker room that have helped you throughout these first few weeks?
Yeah, no doubt. I've spent a lot of time in the receiver room, so I immediately think of Calvin Austin and Ben Skowronek. Those two guys were around last year, and they're veteran dudes, and both of them have really took me under their wing and helped me along in this process. So I can't thank those guys enough.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly proud. I could just, it's almost like, not that he's my son, but I could just sit here and watch him answer questions from you guys the whole time. I'm just here thinking how cool it is that he's catching passes from Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is giving him pointers. Like, that is just bananas. I still remember, as you know, Paul, I follow high school football and Wyomissing in particular very closely. I still remember the coaches telling me about him when he was in 9th grade. And hey, we got a freshman who's pretty special and doing some really positive things. I know he got banged up a couple years in high school, and then obviously that senior year, when you're a broadcaster like me, you can't really be as a fan anymore of the levels that you're broadcasting. So for me, that's college and the NFL. So I'm by far, like, the thing I follow the most, I'm the biggest fan of, is Wyomissing high school football. So if I'm in a hotel room on a Friday night, like, I was watching Max, right? So like, it was awesome to see what those guys were able to do, winning the district championship. I still remember, can't remember what hotel room I was in, but I was very upset when they lost the state playoff game to Monaco.
Yep.
Max probably still is too, but that's okay. At least Max won the district championship and made the state playoffs. But no, I'm thrilled he's getting this opportunity. He's done everything the right way. I remember talking with him when he was figuring out where he was going to go to college, and goes to Colgate on a partial scholarship, and that quickly able to get a full scholarship. And then we walked through the process a little bit last year with the grad transfer. I don't know how he got Notre Dame. I don't know if he just cold called him or whatever. That was not me. But he got the opportunity at Notre Dame, and just to watch the national championship game, or to watch Notre Dame Penn State, and to see a Wyomissing guy out there. I'm still texting everybody, hey, 37? He's from Wyomissing. You know what I mean? Like, making sure everybody knew about it. And then obviously now, I think I can speak to this. It's really hard, especially from the FCS level, to even get a chance in the NFL. So I'm just glad. I was just thrilled he got the opportunity as a tryout. I'm not sure, like Jared or Paul, you realize they probably had 60 guys try out, rookies. They signed 2, I think, maybe 3, offensive linemen and Max. So it's unbelievably impressive and difficult to go from being a tryout player to getting signed. And with, Max came on my show, the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, and with everything he's done so far, it seems like he's in a really good position, to make some money playing pro football, which is awesome. Can't wait to watch the preseason games and kind of living vicariously through him again.
Thanks. Talk to me about, your day-to-day now. I know you have the podcast, you're with WIP sometimes. Just talk to me about your journey into the media space.
Very different off-season and in-season. Mm-hmm. So the way I describe it to people is, so once the first Eagles preseason game is, August 7th, I believe, that Thursday night, I will be away from my family every weekend through the Super Bowl in some way, shape, or form. I'll call over 30 games, television and radio. I love it, but like any other job, there's pros and cons. The cons are the travel. But anytime I'm about to complain even a little bit, I just think like your eighth grade self would kick your butt right now because I've never said to my wife who's sitting over there, I've never called it my job. I've never said I have to go to work. Like I always say I have to do a show or I have to do a game. To me, it would be like insulting to people to say that what I do is work or a job. I'm 46 years old. I haven't had to get a real job yet. I'm not planning on getting one, which is pretty cool. So it's awesome. During the season, it's 7 days a week, just like it was as a player, just like it'll be for Max. You know, once Max goes to training camp, and assuming he's on the team in some capacity, there are no off days. Like they'll give you Tuesdays off, but you still go in. You just go in on your own, and knowing Max, he will. So there aren't many jobs like that where it's basically 6 months where it's every day except for maybe the bye week. But then, you know, the off season, you get some time off, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
This time of year for me, I'm just doing all the podcast stuff, and then I get a chance to enjoy my family more at night and on the weekends. And I got a couple small businesses that I work on as well. One is actually Go Big Recruiting, which Max used, which is awesome. So every kid out there, okay, if you use Go Big Recruiting, you'll go to the NFL like Max. That's the moral of the story.
Talk to me about your NFL career. I know you went undrafted, just like him. Just what was your favorite memory as a football player?
You know, one thing I remember is when I made the Redskins as a rookie. I realized I made it. It's so funny, Max, I don't even know if you know this, but nobody calls you to tell you made the team. They only call you to tell you if you're cut. So Marty Schottenheimer said we had to be in the hotel from 9 a.m. to noon. So I'm in the hotel 9 a.m. to noon. At like 11, my phone rings and I answer it, my hotel room phone, answer it, and they were looking for another guy. I said, so unfortunately, that last clip got cut off. I don't know what happened with my phone. I think my storage ran out. I didn't get the last little bit of that question, which kind of sucks because it was a great answer. It's pretty much all I got. I'm going to leave both links in the description if you want to read the articles themselves. Thanks again to both of them if they end up watching this. I really do appreciate the time, you know, writing the articles, getting this video out, get some momentum on the internet, you know, people to see it, you know, hopefully grow this channel a little bit and grow my own brand. I'm going to keep trying to do things like this in the future with the recording. So it's, you know, more than just me talking about it. You can actually see the clips of me interviewing them. And, you know, hopefully in the future, I can, you know, have some more former athletes on or current athletes on. If you made it this far, I do appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully I have a Cowboys video coming out very soon. Got to, you know, catch up on the off-season stuff before they hit training camp in August. But yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.